A flight from Indianapolis, Indiana in the US to Porto Alegre, Brazil is $1,400. That's a lot of money to spend on such a simple trip. We're gonna go to Miami, Florida, Santiago, Chile, Porto Alegre, Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Bogota, Colombia, and then Quito, Ecuador, all for $111 more than the base price ticket. Now there's a bunch of different kind of travel hacks that we use to get to do this, and I'm gonna show you how it's all done. But first, I gotta get on a plane to Miami. Okay, travel hack number one. Most of the time when you buy a ticket to a place in another country, you just look at the airport near your house, right? Like that totally makes sense. But actually there's some really big hubs in the US that have way cheaper flights to some of those places. So I'm gonna show you how to look to find a one-way ticket or a ticket to that place and then fly from there. But first, let's explore Miami a bit. So the way that you do this is you start out just by searching for kind of trips to the place you want to go from all different cities in the US. A lot of times this is what I've seen in Africa. It'll go through Atlanta or New York. A lot of times for Asia, it's New York, LA, and sometimes Chicago if you go through the Middle East. For Australia, it's almost always the West Coast. It's LA, it's San Francisco or Vancouver. And then from there in Europe, it's Atlanta often. A lot of times it's New York, it's Chicago, it's DFW. Europe kind of goes from all over the place. And then in South America, often it's Atlanta, DFW, or where we are today in Miami, which makes for a pretty good stop. We bought a one-way ticket here to Miami and then a ticket from Miami to Porto Alegre instead of just flying direct. And what that gives us is an extra little stopover, but also it just saved money. Like it was actually cheaper. So make sure though that you have enough time to actually get to see the city and it's not just like sitting in an airport. Also, make sure you have enough time to get back to your flight because it'd be the worst thing in the world to, save a little bit of money but then miss your overseas flight. And they're not gonna give you your money back on that because it's a different airline. Okay, travel hack number two is this. Instead of avoiding long layovers, take advantage of them. Right now, we are on a 6-hour layover in Santiago, Chile, and we're in this beautiful park getting to hang out and see all these black-necked swans, and it's super cool. So don't avoid them. Look for flights that have long layovers and get to experience a new country. So here's a pro tip. A lot of cities actually have like services where you can get a tour over a layover. Like I know in Panama City they have that. I've seen it in a bunch of different places, especially in South America where there are hubs of major airlines. But also you can just go on TripAdvisor and find somebody who has a good rating. Look them up on WhatsApp. You can text them straight on there and just say, hey, do you have time to do this many people? And if they don't, I guarantee you they'll find somebody that does. And you get to see cool stuff like this on a layover. So one of the best things about doing this on a layover though is you legitimately make friends all over the world. So this is Luis and this is Joseph and they've been incredible the whole day. And not only have they shown us all the cool sights, but next time we come, we're definitely hanging out, like going over to their house and just like, these guys are awesome. So do this on a layover. I've got another hack for you, but we're gonna do it in Sao Paulo in a couple weeks. See you there. Okay, the next travel hack is this. Inside most major countries, you can get some budget airlines where it is dirt cheap to travel within the country. So we just spent the last 2 weeks in Porto Alegre, Brazil, in the south of Brazil, and we just spent like 50 bucks to fly to right here in Sao Paulo. And Sao Paulo is such a cool city. We're seeing all this incredible architecture for 50 bucks, totally worth it. Okay, so we have loved our time in Sao Paulo here, and it would have been a crime not to make it to this city. It's such a cool place with so much cool artwork, and there are airlines that can take you to other cities in the country you're in all over the world. In Africa, we've got Mango and Kulula. In Asia, there's AirAsia, Indigo, and HK Express. In Australia, they've got Jetstar. In Europe, there's Ryanair and EasyJet, both of which I've flown a bunch of times, and we've gone all over Europe for like $10. In North America, we've got Spirit and Allegiant, which is a little more money and a little less comfortable, but they get you there. And then even here in South America, we've got Gol, Avianca, and Latam. So make sure you check out some of these cheaper airlines because you might be able to see a whole bunch of different cities in the country you're in. But I have some Brazilian barbecue to eat, so we're gonna hit that up and I'll see you again in Colombia. Gosh. So, our flight from here to Bogota got canceled because Avianca sucks.
They do.
True story.
So now we're trying to figure out some weird way of flying from here in Sao Paulo to some other country. I have no idea which. Okay, so far we've looked up Santiago, Chile, Lima, Peru. We've looked at El Salvador. We've looked at Guyana.
Ecuador, Uruguay, Costa Rica, Panama.
We can't go to Paraguay or... Oh my gosh.
Colombia.
This is out of control. It's gonna be fun. Wherever we go, it's gonna be an adventure. So it is now 6 a.m. We have been in the airport for 16 hours and we are ready to go anywhere but here.
Here we go.
Okay, welcome to Lima, Peru. The next travel hack number 4, is buy one-way tickets instead of round trip. Now, usually round trip tickets are cheaper, but sometimes one-way tickets actually are cheaper and you can get to some other cool places on the way and fly different airlines to get to different places. So one of those on this trip was going to Bogota, Colombia, which didn't happen. Which leads me to travel hack number 5. Be flexible, because we are not in Bogota, Colombia. We're in Lima, Peru. We had zero intention of coming to Lima, Peru. We were trying to get to Bogota and we showed up to the airport in Sao Paulo and they said we couldn't get on the flight because we didn't have a yellow fever vaccine that no one said we needed. It was a whole mess. By the way, the cheap airline thing I said earlier, don't fly Avianca. We'll just leave it there. But be flexible because you might end up in a place like Lima, Peru, which has been absolutely incredible. It is now one of my favorite cities, so stay flexible. So the moral of the story is pursue adventure, because sometimes it's great and things just go your way and they're absolutely incredible, and sometimes things just fall apart and you're stuck in the Sao Paulo airport for 18 hours. But either way, I promise you, going through all that is way better than being stuck on the couch watching TV. Pursuing adventure really just like taps into something deep within us that is crying out for something of value, something that's better, that I think God put in us to see the world around us, to experience the people around us, and connect with the creation that we call home. So you know what to do. Hit like, hit subscribe below. Thank you so much for watching this. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you've got some other tips, write them in the description below. But I love you guys. I'm thankful to have you watching. We'll see you in the next one.